What's the first thing you do when you bring home a new houseplant? Here are my recommendations for the first steps you should take after you bring home a new houseplant. 1. Do a thorough inspection of your new plant. First, check the foliage. Healthy houseplants should have green leaves, but it's normal for some plants to lose a few leaves after having gone through the shock of being transported from a greenhouse to a supermarket nursery and then to your home. There's no need to panic just yet. Simply cut off the yellow or yellowing leaves with a pair of sharp secators. If you find any pests on the plants, use a solution mixed with neem oil and dish soap. 2. Inspect the roots of your new plant. First, you'll be hunting for a plastic mesh wrapped around the root structure of the plant. This is called an artificial root plug. Yes, I know it sounds weird, but unfortunately, there is a common practice among large-scale growers of using plugs to keep the plants small. Most plugs are often made of plastic that will never biodegrade. They will just impede the growth of the root structure as the plant matures and interfere with the root's ability to take up water and nutrients. 3. Don't jump the gun on repotting. Speaking of repotting, don't rush to do it as soon as you bring home your new plant. Let your plant acclimate to its new environment first before you put it through a new round of transplant shock. There may be scenarios when you should repot your new plant sooner rather than later. You'll know it's time to upsize the container if there is a good amount of roots growing out of the drainage holes. The soil is compacted and lacks aeration. If possible, you should avoid repotting your plants in its dormant period. 4. Check if the soil is aerated. While most of us know that water, light, and temperature are important factors to a plant's well-being, soil aeration doesn't get nearly as much attention. But just like we need oxygen to survive, so do our plants. In their natural habitat, there are plenty of worms and microorganisms to take care of this process. But in an indoor environment, it's up to us to make sure that the roots of the plants get enough oxygen. 5. Do not rush to fertilize. As a rule, too much fertilizer will cause more harm than too little fertilizer. But in our obsession for insta-perfect plants, the temptation to fertilize runs supreme. But keep in mind that growers have already fed the plant before selling it to you. After all, it's in their best interest to sell plants that look healthy and lush. Similarly, if you've decided to repot your plant in fresh soil, be aware that most potting soil already contains slow-release fertilizer. Wait at least a couple of months before you start fertilizing your new plant. And remember that when it comes to fertilizing, the less is more approach is better in the long run.